morning. This is Deborah Diane with the BabyBoomerRetirement.com blog. And today's topic is going to be strokes. This is an important issue that every baby boomer or older retiree should know about. In addition, we should know about it for our family members of any age. For example, a well-known weather reporter here in Southern California named Bree Winkler actually had a stroke when she was only 25 years old. So everyone should be concerned about knowing the symptoms of what a stroke is, how to recognize it, and how quickly you need to get help. There are very effective treatments if you get to a hospital within 3 hours. 2 is even better because it takes a few minutes to set up the treatment. If you delay too long, then the symptoms can become irreversible. So you need to get help right away as soon as you suspect that you or a loved one may be having a stroke. If you live with other people, you need to make sure that they know how to recognize the symptoms of a stroke. If you live by yourself, you need to be able to recognize right away yourself if something is going wrong. This is why I frequently recommend that people wear some kind of a medical alert pendant, that they wear it on chain around their neck, because then they can push the button and instantly get in contact with a nurse or agent for the company that is handling their medical alert system. And in this way, you could report that you think you're having a stroke. But none of us want to ignore the symptoms. So what are the symptoms of a stroke? Well, they say that you should know the word FAST. That means, and what those letters stand for, F-A-S-T. If one side of your face is drooping, like this, that would be a sign that you're probably having a stroke. If one of your arms is weak, you suddenly have trouble lifting it, and you can't raise it above your head very effectively, that's a symptom of a stroke. If you find yourself slurring your words and you don't know why, that's a symptom of a stroke. If you experience any of those 3 symptoms, you should call 911 or press the button on your medical alert bracelet right away. Strokes are often called the silent killer because there are absolutely no symptoms prior to you having it. So it's not like you're going to have headaches or shortness of breath, perspiration, a lot of the symptoms that you might have of other illnesses or health problems. Nerve cells can start to die within minutes. And this damages the brain cells and the portion of the brain that is deprived of oxygen. So what happens is you get a blood clot that goes to your brain. It cuts off the supply of blood to some area of your brain, and you immediately start having your brain cells die. So the quicker you can get a treatment for it, the better off you're going to be. It's extremely important that you get to the hospital immediately. What are the risk factors that make you more likely to have a stroke? And remember, you can have a stroke even without these risk factors. But what are the things that make you even more likely? If you have high blood pressure, that's considered a significant risk factor. If you consistently have blood pressure readings that are over 140 over 90, then you are at increased risk and you need to treat your blood pressure. A lot of people think of blood pressure as being more connected to heart disease, but it's also connected to strokes, and it's a serious problem. If you have had a stroke in the past, you become more likely to have a stroke in the future. In some illnesses, they treat it and you are then less likely to have that illness again. This is not a case of that. If you've ever had a stroke, you are now more likely to have one in the future. If you have a family history, if your parents, siblings, aunts and uncles have had strokes, you also are more likely to have one. If you have diabetes, you're more likely to. If you have heart disease, if you've had a heart attack or been told you have heart disease, including just having atrial fibrillation, that makes you more likely to have a stroke as well. If you're overweight and have a sedentary lifestyle, spend a lot of time on the computer, watch a lot of television, play video games, spend time on Facebook, those make you more likely to have a stroke. So that's important to consider. If your cholesterol is high, that's another thing that you need to make sure you're treating. If you smoke. Now you all know that there's many good reasons not to smoke, but having a stroke is closely related to having having had a history of smoking. So you need to take care of that. If you have any other factors that might make you likely to have a stroke, then you definitely need to not be smoking. If you abuse alcohol or drugs, now I'm not talking about an occasional glass of wine or a beer, but if you're having more than a couple in a day, then it makes you much more likely to have a stroke. So you need to be aware of that. I know if you like to drink that you don't want to hear this news, but you do need to be aware that it is considered a risk factor. And if you do several of these things, like you smoke, drink, and you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol or a history of diabetes, you are at a high risk of strokes, and you need to be aware of that. One other factor that we can't control, it's just a fact of life, and that is aging. The older we get, the more likely we are to have a stroke. So the more conscious we need to be that we need to be able to watch out for the symptoms of one and to make sure our loved ones know what to look for. You can get more information from the strokeassociation.org, which is a great website to find out how to protect yourself from strokes. You can also look at my blog, which is babyboomerretirement.com, which is the blog for the 10,000 baby boomers who are turning 65 every day. That's the information today for babyboomerretirement.com. I hope that you find this information on strokes helpful, and you can always find more information on my website because I have information every day listed there on all sorts of topics, including medical issues, financial issues, where to retire, and all the other information that you are likely to need as we age and as we get closer to retirement. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.